live? Ah, now. Perfect.
I'm going to turn Facebook on my phone real quick and make sure.
Yeah, just to check if it's live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes
but I like those pouches you made, Joris. They are also good for feeding raw, right?
Yes, they're excellent. It's a silicone. It's between a silicone and a neoprene.
Yeah.
I posted a video yesterday out of the blue. One of my females, she put her head in a pouch and she started to eat.
Yeah.
And I had something like, okay, I'm just gonna let it happen. It was also a little kinky.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah, the position where you feel was a little.
Hey, with heart and soul, right?
Well, the reason I put the pouch also in front of me, it's easy to make the dog to sit really close in front of me because he sniffs to the food, and I want to avoid that if I go with my hands behind me or left or right, that becomes a cue.
Yeah, makes sense.
And if she looks to me, she's the food. It's also like being luring, cueing, but who cares, you know?
Yeah. How many own dogs do you have at the moment? You have Tomiki?
Who's Tomika?
T. Mr. T.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I have T and T. I have father and mother. I have the two females, the two brown females out of that litter. I have my Bouvier, Flanders. I have George, my French hound.
Yeah.
And then I have currently I have 6 dogs in the boarding room. 2 board and trains, another board and train, a dog just for the weekends, and then 2 labs that I train for people that live on a 25-acre lot. And till now, the dogs always came back to them, but when they decided. So.
Oh yeah.
And they were also like this when they came. And now they are like this.
Gotta have that musky. All right. There's 11 people on here. It's gonna start getting interesting already. So I'm gonna go ahead. We can just keep chatting, but I'm just gonna do a little introduction real quick. All right, guys. I'm Mike, and of course Dominic, and then we have our guest today is Joris, who probably doesn't even need an introduction. I'm sure everybody probably knows who he is, but definitely a veteran in the system. No BS kind of guy. So he's got a lot going on and a lot of interesting stuff as far as NePoPo and some state police stuff coming up. We'll get into all that. But anyhow, Dominic.
Yes, thank you guys for joining. I think we have pretty interesting things today to talk about. And yeah, I think, Joris, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit just for the people who don't know you? But I'm pretty sure everybody knows you and what you're doing.
Okay. Good morning, guys. Thank you for having me. I like the way you both pronounce my name, Joris. It's Joris with a soft J, but whatever. I'm from Belgium, former Belgian Federal Police, private contracting, military contracting, stateside United States since 2016. I followed my dream. That was not really like a dream, but a little bit of a nightmare in the beginning, because you come to the land of the free and you have a lot of dreams, but things do not always work like you wanted. I gave up a very secured position at the Belgian Federal Police. Why do I say very secured? Because it was a government agency job. I did what I wanted. I was allowed to do what I wanted. I had a life with the dogs. I had Rhea, my single-purpose patrol dog. I had Kilos, single-purpose passive narcotic, which means searching narcotics on people. And then I had Ares, my Australian blue cattle dog, who was doing narcotics, vehicles, luggage, rooms, but also people. So I gave all of that up to pursue a dream. It's actually funny because in the Bible we speak about the number 7. The number 7 has a very magnificent value. I consider my 7 skinny years to be gone, and now we go for the 7 fat years. The only fat that I had in the past 7 years was my body, so I'm trying to lose weight also. I worked for a number of companies, a number of big companies, stateside. That never worked out perfectly because I tried to work with them in the philosophy of NePoPo. Now in NePoPo, you have to choose for the quality instead of the quantity. Most of those big companies, they buy 50 dogs a month in Eastern Europe, where the dog knows 2 things. He knows the hard Schutzhundsleeve and he knows the ball. And for the rest, he doesn't know anything. So the dog has been pumped up in high drive. And that works till the moment that it doesn't work no more. Why do I say that? Yesterday, I posted a video on the playground with my 2 puppies, 7 months old, and with my Bouvier. And I think that I wrote heroes on the ground, but zeros on height. It means that you can have a dog on a field. It can be the bomb, but if you take that field or if you take that known aquarium away, they fall apart like a cart of a house. So the video from yesterday is not spectacular. You see that all 3 dogs are struggling with going through that tunnel. But at the end of the tunnel on the platform, with big holes in where actually they can see the ground 6 feet lower of them, I have put my black dopamine box with their whole dinner as a jackpot for the day. Very surprisingly, the Bouvier did the best of all, where the Bouvier is actually way slower than my Malinois puppies. So that's how I like to train in the low drive. If the dog wants to go for the food, where food in the system is a primary reward, it is an existential reward, it's existential food that we need to survive. Everybody can do chiki chiki chaka, but that's not real, because on the moment that the disco lights are out and there's no more YMCA, dogs are falling apart, because then they come into that natural thing of, whoa, this is such an ugly, big world. That's why we use the Dopamine Box to create that environmental blindness.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally makes sense. And it's also the problem nowadays that nobody is posting the basic things of dog training, because everybody just wants to see flashy dogs. They want to see the chiki chiki chaka, the perfect training videos, and they only want to see the results, and nobody wants to see the ugly and not so flashy way towards our end goal.
True. And I know that I post a lot of things with the box, and I know that I post a lot of things with the bite box, where I create the aquarium to start the unforced first fetch. And I know that I do not post a lot of things with the end product. There's 2 reasons. First of all, the end product takes way longer, and I also do it a little bit as a marketing thing. Why would we give everything away for free to the people, where people like you, Mike, and I paid quite some money to get the lectures from Michael and Bart in the school?
Also true.
It's I think that we need to protect who we are. We need to protect the privilege that we have, especially now in the new system, where we can be the NePoPo Gold multiplicators. There's a reason why Bart and Michael don't write the book. First of all, a book has his own interpretation, but why would you put everything for free on the market, where they strived for, let's say, Bart is 65, so the past 45 years of knowledge of Bart and the past 35 years of knowledge of Michael, why would you give it all away for free? You know? But I think that little videos or teasers to make people to show the interest of the system.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
That's what got me. Were little teaser videos, just good little, and then a little. It's a mystery. So, and then, but you do see solid results, and then when you get that little teaser, it's that hook, and but it's a legit hook. You actually get what you're looking for. So
you have very young people that went to the school that could have been my child, because I'm 44, and so you have people 22, 23 years old that show magnificent things. I'm jealous of that, because I would love to show those magnificent things, but I just don't have the time, because I have a business to run. I have dogs of my own, and I have client dogs, and unfortunately, a day only has 24 hours. I make my dogs to do what they need to do to have a wonderful life, and my dogs will probably become better when I have new NePoPo Gold students coming from overseas, where they can use my dogs as part of their Gold School experience. That's what I'm looking forward to.
So since you brought that up, it's probably a good place to start. Would be, I mean, we've already started, but new Silver School coming up. I'm pretty excited. One of the reasons I'm pretty excited about that, to be honest, is a couple of weeks ago I was in the NePoPo. Well, I was on Facebook and I was looking at somebody else's NePoPo notes from school in a file, and in my mind I was like, man, that's not in my notes anywhere. I don't remember that at all. And so I really am probably more excited than anything just to learn more. And I think I'll learn more this time, because I don't feel the pressure. Maybe I will feel the pressure at the time, but I think I'll absorb more. So
it's funny that you speak about those notes that you said. I do not remember that, because those were not your notes. And when you were in school, the things that you wrote down or the things that went in your ear, but your left ear hearing can be different than my right ear hearing.
100%.
I'm 1,000% sure that all three are different philosophies about the system, are different, and they are touching and crossing each other on multiple railroads. It is also a very evolving system. If I look back to my notes of my first Silver School that I did in 2016, and I think I went 3 or 4 times in the total, and every time that I went, I wrote down a whole epistle to make my New Testament, because I call Michael and Bart their teaching, I call that the Old Testament, like Jesus wrote the Old Testament, and we are all apostles to take over when they stop, and they are stopping the Gold Schools. So we all gonna bring things in the new Gold Schools that we think that are important enough to teach. And maybe new NePoPo Gold students will go to multiple NePoPo Gold multiplicators, and maybe it's going to be a discussion, or maybe some people will not be happy with person X and some people will not be happy with person Y. The clue of the story is, with all my notes, that there's one big red line in all my different notes, and maybe one day I'm going to bring everything together and squeeze it and canalize it and make my own definite story about it. You may not forget, I'm coming out of the old school. I'm coming out of 20 years ago, where we did things with our dogs that we cannot do no more these days. I was the first one in Belgium at the federal police that used food and a clicker, and we go back to 2006. Everybody was laughing with me because everybody was used to the Swiss rope. The Swiss rope is the paracord, the 4mm paracord with a double ring, where you can make it a P left and right to choke your dog. E-collars back in the day were only used behind the corner, behind closed doors, to solve the problem that I realize right now cannot be solved with a correction, an aversive, or just the cutting of the drive. My old patrol dog, Rhea, was trained on a little choke line, on clicker and the foot. And pure positive training only works till the moment that it doesn't work no more.
Yeah.
And that was my big missing link in all my experience of dog training. Because was I able to train a dog? Yes. In 2011, I went to New York with Rhea. The only female, she was the youngest dog, she was in heat, and I won the whole thing. So I proved that I can do something. But in tactical operations, she started to whine, and the choking was not enough, and we got issues because we could get burned by the dog making noise.
Yeah.
If the whole team is walking like a squirrel, and then you have an elephant, bam, 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 yeah, it doesn't work like that. So somewhere, somehow, I was hoping that I could have been able to use the knowledge from back in the days, Bart, before I met Michael, and then later Michael and Bart, when I also knew her. I could have done 10 times better with all my dogs if I could have used the e-collar in more than a corrective, cutting the drive, aversive way. That is also something that I think is really important, because a lot of people, they think NePoPo is using an e-collar.
Right.
No, NePoPo is not using an e-collar. The use of the e-collar in NePoPo is two things. It is the use of the Martin system e-collar, the chameleon, because you have the divided electricity around the neck of the dog. Secondly, you have the contact measurement, where we can see on the chameleon 3B and also on the prior chameleon 3 and on the micro and the micro B, if we make skin contact, yes or no. And there we go on the point of the animal welfare, where with every other single color, and those that say that I'm a liar, react right now. With every other color, you have to strap it pretty tight on the neck of the dog. You have to raise up your stimulation. You have to tap your transmitter till the moment that you see a physical muscular contraction on the dog. And then people say, okay, I have contact. It's true. You have contact, but probably already in a more corrective way or aversive way than just the feeling of the lowest sensation.
Yeah.
That is a big thing. So people that say, I train in NePoPo with my other branded collar, I'm not going to say names, because then it's going to say, no, with my other branded collar than Martin system, no, you're not training in NePoPo, because one of the bullet points of NePoPo is the animal welfare.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop talking because it's your show, not mine.
No, you're good.
Oh, that's why you're here. That's what we're.
And I also think what a lot of people, it's like you say, a lot of people think that training in NePoPo is only about shocking the dog or e-collar training. And funny thing is that you don't have to use an e-collar to train in NePoPo. So when you are somewhere where it's not illegal, like in Germany, we don't train NePoPo with e-collars. So
no, you can perfectly train. You can perfectly train NePoPo with your flat collar, with your martingale, with your choke rope, or with your pinch collar.
Yeah.
Dominic, it's really nice that you bring this point, because I trained with the KSK.
Mm-hmm.
I trained with the KSK, and I trained with the GSG 9.
That just to clarify, that's the German Special Operations Service from the police.
Yes.
Gotcha.
That is the SF unit of the German army.
I thought it was a sandwich or something. I don't know. I've heard that before.
I trained with the KSK guys, and the KSK guys, they have a flat collar And they found their way to work with that flat collar, also to correct their dog by leaving 2 fingers between the collar and the neck, so that at least they can turn it so that it's getting twisted as a little choker,
yeah.
because it's all they have. Michael and Bart, you see them a lot with the pups where they are pulling on that pull collar.
Yeah.
The pulling is a necessity where the dog needs to show that he wants to drive in, he wants to dig in.
Yeah.
If you put your dog on a flexi pole and you have never taught the dog what pressure in the neck means, then it's possible that he goes till the extension of your cable and he never goes again. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aversive.
That's why I don't like a back tie on a tree, because the tree is not giving himself and the back tie is not giving himself neither.
Yeah.
I believe that the flexipole is a magnificent tool. I'm not going to make publicity for my flexipole because I don't have any, and I don't have anybody currently that can do the manufacturing of them. But a good flexipole with a spring that makes the cable extracting to a certain point is the hands of a second helper that you don't have to pay for, that you only have to buy one time. You know?
Yeah, it's also what Bart always says. He likes to train alone, and that's a perfect tool to do bite work on your own or to do whatever when you need a second hand.
Dominic, I believe that 95% of all training for sports and military and police and operational, blah, 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 95% you can do by yourself.
Yeah, I think so too.
It is the 5% of the transitioning into the real world, the really stepping out of the aquarium, that you need to go to different places and different spots. I was on a NATO conference in Washington, I think a month and a half ago, and there was a company, and they have like a ammunition box with electronics in it, and they can simulate every single caliber in single shot, in repetitive shots, or in full automatic. It's costing some money, but it's something that I'm considering to go buy, because if my pups or my young dogs or my dogs that I have for behavior modification or my hunting dogs or eating out of the box, and instead of shooting with a 22 till a 45, I can just have that sound next to me, then I can make my dogs gunshot neutral. So when they are gunshot neutral, they are also environmental blind. Because the whole concept of the dopamine box for me is creating that environmental blindness.
Yeah.
Some people put an object in the dopamine box. In my opinion, that is misplaced. In my opinion, you need to have a footstep tracking box with an opening, and then you can put the washer or whatever in the grass in combination with the crushing of the natural vegetation from your footstep.
Yeah.
It all depends. But again, Michael and Bart, their words, there are 1,000 ways that leads to Rome.
Lead to Rome, yeah.
You know?
I think why some people do that is, I don't know if that's true, but I just heard that they put something inside the dopamine box. So that means for the dog right now, you can earn food on there. There's a training session inside the dopamine box. And when there's nothing inside, the dogs know they can look, but it won't happen anything.
Well, I agree to disagree. For me, the dopamine box is environmental blindness. It can also be the start of targeting, looking to something or whatever. There are people that put an odor pouch with Centlogics or with whatever artificial odor, or with real, but what is real? Let's say that people put an odor in the box, and then when the dog is putting his head in the box, they throw food. I think that's dangerous. I think that you're skipping a few steps. Because if the dog puts his head in the box, is he going for the expectation of the food, or is he really
Sniffing, yeah.
sniffing? Also, a dog cannot not sniff. That is also true. So there's always some odor that is coming free. But is it the odor of the previous piece of food, or is it the odor of his saliva that dropped in the box, or is it really the odor that he wants to pick up?
Yeah.
That's different story. Again, 1,001 ways to go to the final product.
Yeah. And also 1,000 ways to implement our tools, so in the correct way.
I think that's an important one that people might like when we talk about the implementation of the use of the e-color. Because I agree that the e-color, people like to call it shock colors. My clients say, are you going to use one of those shock colors on my dog? And I tell them, well, I'm going to learn them about the communication color, where on the moment there's a disobedience of a behavior that I taught them, that yes, I will give them a corrective stimulation that you can consider as a negative shock.
Yeah.
Because I believe it's only when you know what this means that you will understand the harder tap. And on a moment of disobedience, when you feel this, you're going to say, dang, I could have avoided that by just listening from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's where the e-color, the electronic color, the communication color, the education color becomes the language.
That's one of the things that Bart always, I hear him say the line often, you know, in preparation of the inevitable correction that must come. So,
Dominic, want du und mich sprechen in die deutsche Sprache?
Here we go again.
Ich bin ganz gleich sure, dass Mike geht nicht verstehen, was wir sagen.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, what did we say?
I think you're, I don't know, sending me some kind of bonus in the mail or something, but
okay. So you are the dog, and I just spoke to Dominic, who is your owner, and I'm the trainer. So you have no clue.
Yeah, that's a good illustration.
But if I put the chameleon 3B around your neck with a canine transmitter and the Dogify application, because the Dogify application for iOS and Android is something that a lot of people are not aware about. If you use Dogify correct and you use your canine transmitter correct and you use your chameleon 3B correct, then you can fine-tune everything for your dog. So let's say that level 4 is 141 milliampere output, if I'm not mistaken. Let's say that level 1, stim, followed by food. The day after, I let you run around, Mike. I push level 1, and there's no reaction. That means that the collar is not on, we don't make skin contact, or you just don't feel it. Let's jump to Thursday, level 4, 141. I let you run around. I push level 4. And you stop. And you have no clue what happened, but I can see that you felt something. There we know that level 4, 141 milliampere output has a meaning for you. What I like about the whole concept is that I can bring it down to 135 and see if you still react. You still react, so I bring it down to 130. On 130 milliampere output, you don't react. Now I know that your level of sensation of feeling is between 130 and 135. So we can really fine-tune that. Also, we have to think that is that 130 in the aquarium having the same of the 130 in the open field where there are distractions.
Right.
So it's more complicated than we just say, but we can fine-tune that. So I like to bring the e-color in the life of the dog by classical conditioning, where my food is a known signal with a value, and I can bring the stimulation on a low level approximately 1.6 seconds before the food comes.
Yeah.
So within repetitions, the dog will start to link it up. That is the way that takes the longest, but that is how I like it.
And there you also stay in the animal welfare law, Geneva Convention, everything like this.
Well, we spoke about that Geneva Convention a little bit, and I learned about the whole Geneva thing. But we need to be careful with the meaning of Geneva, because Geneva says that if a wounded soldier, you have to let him go, even if you capture him, you cannot torture him. So I think that the whole concept of Michael and Bart, when they speak about Geneva, is that you need to be able to stop the pain on a human being or another animal whenever that it has to happen. What I want to add to that is you need the e-collar if you have your dog off leash where he is out of your reach.
Yeah.
Even when he is in your reach. Because if I train my dog to do a road clearance to find explosives, and that dog is doing the road clearance, and out of the blue, there's a 3 or 5-year-old child that steps on the road, my dog will see that child as a moving rabbit. I want to be able to say, stop, come back to me.
Right.
And my voice or my vibration or my tick with sounds, I need to be able to go on a higher level when there's a disobedience. And a lot of people, they say, oh, I don't need electricity because I have tone and vibration. Okay, but tone and vibration only works till the moment that it doesn't work no more.
Sure.
Till the moment that there is a higher hope and desire for the dog where he says, screw you.
Yeah.
I always made a comparison to people. Okay, Dominic, how many accidents did you have in the past 5 years with your car?
None.
Okay, perfect. Perfect answer. Do you pay a monthly insurance?
Yes, of course, and it's very high.
Why? If you don't have an accident, why do you pay insurance?
You have to in Germany.
Okay, imagine that you don't have to by law.
Yeah.
Would you still pay it?
I don't think so. I would rather save that money.
You would play Russian roulette. You would take the risk to have an accident.
It depends. I think yeah. If you say I would rather spend save that money for an accident that could come, it could work out. But if the price is more higher, then yeah, I know what you mean.
There's a risk there though if you do that.
Say again.
I said if you go that route though, there's a big risk. At least if you paid it, you have peace of mind that it's taken. You always have that coverage. You know, you're protected.
I prefer to pay a monthly fee to be safe instead of having to sell my house and to go to prison. So I rather have my dog on an e-collar where, yes, I can give him a higher stimulation, but if it can save the life of another person or animal, then yes, I believe that we are 100% in the philosophy also of the animal welfare.
Yeah.
Instead of only using it in 95% of the cases as a correction. So I think that's a little bit of a good analyze why we are using that Martin system e-collar in combination with the system where we are teaching the dog what pressure means, where the dog understands I can make the pressure to go away, and if the pressure goes away, I receive a second positive, because 2 times positive, 1 time negative. At the end, we have 1 positive, so everybody happy.
Should be happy, yeah.
Should be happy. But that's the thing. If you go too fast and you skip those steps, then your dog will do it, but with the flat ears or with the tail behind the legs.
Yeah.
And looking good. No?
So George, do you have a well, Silver School's middle of March? That's not long. What, a month and a half? What do you have a Gold School planned already? Do you have one scheduled?
Yes, I actually have a Gold School immediately after the Silver School for people from Pacific Asia that are already long time dog trainers and or in business. So I spoke about that to Michael and Bart, of course, because back in the days in the old system, Michael and Bart preferred somebody to come at least 3 or 6 months later than the silver. Now, those people have been done in the past 2 years because of COVID. They could not come earlier to the USA neither. I believe that the basic knowledge of those people is already above average. They also come a few days prior than the Silver School to me so that I can feel where they need extra attention for the Silver School so that we can make the Gold School in the week after the Silver School make it a success story. And maybe later on they're gonna invite me in Pacific Asia, which will be a blast.
Hopefully.
I have 3 or 4 people that are lined up for the new Silver School that are also going to come to the Gold School with me, but not without any specific date yet. If I do a Gold School, it's going to be maximum 5 people for the simple reason that when Michael and Bart did a Gold School, they said maximum 10 people. But in a lot of cases, it was Michael and Bart and Jackie was there, or sometimes a already Gold School student that came and that assisted in a few things. I'm going to do maximum 5 people because it's a one-man show. But it can also be a 1, 2, 3 person school. Because imagine that you come to me, Mike, for 5 days one-on-one with me, and you can work with 10 different dogs, then you're going to learn a lot.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know? So,
that's a good thing if you have more than 1 dog or 2 dogs, that you can switch daily or you can switch from session to session. You have different types of dogs, you have different characters of the dog, and you got to learn a lot.
Well, I have a French hound that is crazy about food, but that is not super social to people in different way. I have the parents of the puppies. I have the puppies. I have a Bouvier. I have an agreement with the director of the animal shelter that if I need dogs, that I can come and select dogs in the shelter, because if I take a shelter dog for 1 day or for 1 week, that dog will go back to the shelter as a better dog than he was already before.
Yeah,
no doubt. Hey, excuse me, y'all continue.
And that is
Excuse
maybe
me.
something that I'm thinking about. That's maybe something I'm thinking about with a 501c, a non-profit organization to see what we can do, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a perfect idea. So it helps you, and it also helps the dogs in the shelter, because when they already know something, or you teach them sit down, stand, recall, whatever, they are basically have a higher chance to get out of the shelter. So
yeah, exactly.
Nothing better.
Did we lose Mike?
No, I think he has to go on the toilet, or I don't know, but he will come back. I don't think we lost him.
So one thing very exciting for me is it's still in the pipeline. I'm busy with the state police to transition all their canines to the Martin system color, and that will probably go together with the training of all those state troopers also. because out of experience I learned that it's easier to teach somebody that was not into the e-colors instead of somebody that has been using e-colors already for a long term, because those people again use it when there is that disobedience. 7, 8, and 9th of March, I'm teaching at the Police K9 conference in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm doing 4 classes about NePoPo, and I want to offer you guys something. Out of the people that are part of this group, or out of the people that are watching, why don't we give away a ticket? So it's a 3-day ticket to participate at the Police K9 conference. It's in Las Vegas, 7th, 8th, and 9th of March.
Yeah.
So let's figure something out. If there are people, let's do this. Let the people that are watching this podcast, they can write down why they deserve to receive the free access tickets.
I think that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, there you go, guys. That's
so be inventive. Don't say because you are the best dog trainer in the world, because we all know that that is not true. Don't say because you like to play the little violin, because that might be true, but we don't go that way. So for the people watching, if you want a free access to the Police K9 conference in Las Vegas, March 7, 8, and 9, this is your chance to win that ticket.
Awesome. Thank you for that opportunity.
Yeah. It's like a gold school ahead of time before. So
it is.
So will you be at the new Silver School in March?
Yes.
In person?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. So March is kind of like a disaster for me. I have to be in Vegas. I have dogs with me in Vegas because I do live demonstrations. So I need to drive. I need to drive to Vegas. Denise said, can we nominate someone? Well, Denise, if that person that you want to nominate, if you can tell me why that person deserves it. So if you're inventive enough, yeah, maybe it is. So I'm driving to Vegas. That is 19-hour drive with at least a puppy, a Bouvier, and whatever. After that, I need to be back on the 11th because my future gold students from Pacific Asia, they are arriving in Austin Airport on the 12th. On the 14th, we drive from Austin, Texas to Springfield, Missouri. Then I will be at the Silver as one of the, I believe, 20 new gold multiplicators.
Yeah.
After that, I drive with my students, clients back to Austin. We do their gold school. And then I might hurry myself up to drive to the far northeast without mentioning what state it will be, to train those state troopers.
Awesome. It sounds like a very busy month for you. So
yeah, you're covering some miles.
In the month of May, I am part of the military working dog symposium from the Army last year in June. The military and the police, they are starting to open their blinders. They are starting to see what NePoPo is. Now that we're talking about the military, it's very interesting what happened in France. France wants to forbid the e-color, but somebody somewhere as a part of a delegation or as a attaché said something. We might make an exception for the e-color for police, military, and customs if you work or trained or certified in the NePoPo way of dog training.
Yeah.
Maybe this is something that will come to the US also. I believe a certification is a good thing to avoid that just everybody can do whatever that they want.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is what is lined up.
Speaking of banning things, probably a sore spot to mention the IGP stick hits, the banning of the stick hits, huh?
It's ridiculous.
Oh.
But
yes, it's ridiculous. You're right. It's ridiculous. But why do they forbid the hitting of the stick? First of all, of ignorance, they have no what it was made for. Armin Winkler from Valhalla K9 in Virginia, he wrote a very long post about the forbidding of the stick, and he is right.
Yeah, I read that.
You don't need the hit of the stick to test your dog. That's true. But some people have been abusing that stick for doing more than just the hit to see if the dog was taking it. Everything that is existing you can use or you can abuse, and it's always the users that have to pay the price for the abusers.
Right.
yes.
Yeah. The people that are actually causing the danger, you're not going to see that stuff on videos. You know, they're hiding that stuff. If it does get exposed, it's because of a hidden camera or something like that. But you know, the stuff that you see, it's there for a reason. But the people who want to attack those things, they, you know, it doesn't matter what the valid reason is. They just need an excuse to go after something. Makes them sleep better at night, you know, about themselves or without really knowing, you know, the cause. So nobody appreciates the alternator until it goes out. So, you know, tools are for different purposes. And
there is going to come a day that protection sports will be forbidden when there are incidents with a liability, and the higher courts will figure out, okay, people can't have a gun, so they are buying a personal protection dog, and that dog has been taught by person X, Y, or Z to bite on a sleeve, and then has been tested on a suit, and then he has been tested if he wants to go civil on a unprotected person. That's going to be the next step.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. What is a personal protection dog? The dog that all the three of us we want for ourselves. We cannot sell that to a client because the people don't have the 5, 10, 15, 20 years of knowledge in protection sports. It's not a robot that you turn on and off. Accidents will happen. I saw dogs that were going for the sleeve that hopefully will never go civil because people are not ready for that.
Yeah,
but you need
they can control that.
You need to let people know what they have. Sometimes the dog that is showing himself with a bark can be enough.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know. You know, it's.
No,
I think having it.
No, I was just going to say a valid point. Selling a protection dog to a client that's untrained, that's not a trainer, is, you know, that's no different than giving a gun to a kid, you know, who has no idea what they're doing. So it
Let's talk about raising puppies. My puppies are 7.5 months. You have a puppy of it also, Mike. If we look to a 1-year-old dog, a 1-year-old dog is considered as a 10-year-old child. The second year of a dog is considered as 8 years. The third year of a dog is considered as 7 years. So that means that a 3-year-old dog is seen as a 25-year-old person. A 2-year-old dog is seen as an 18-year young grown-up. And a 1-year-old dog is a 10-year young child. Why do people push puppies so hard, so fast to make them going through puppy university. Let a dog be a dog like you let your child be a child. Allow your dog to smoke cigarettes and to drink alcohol, like Michael and Bart say. Allow them to make mistakes. Let them learn of those mistakes. A few weeks ago, I had a person with me with his dog, and the dog did everything, but not with heart and soul. Ears down, tail down, because on a very young age, the dog had to do this and this and this and this. There was no place for freedom. We are not living in a communistic world.
Yeah.
Although that I believe that good dog training is a little bit being the communist, because if you give everything for free and if you allow the fat belly, there is no desire and hope to do things for you neither. You know?
Yeah.
That's where, back to the system, food has a primary reward. Food that is existential to survive is the keynote for me for very successful training. Police and military are starting to understand that also. The FBI and the ATF, they are using food as a reward for the detection dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's nothing wrong with that. At least they don't train their dogs that the dog thinks that he's going to find that ball or Kong that they pretend to throw away before they say the word seek, zoeken, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I like my pup to eat out of my hand, even when I present the bowl, because it's when you empty my hand that I will give you the bowl. If the bowl has a higher value than my food, the food goes away as negative punishment. The bowl goes away as negative punishment, and I put you in your crate. That's a triple punishment. You better take the food out of my hand the next time that I take you out.
Yeah.
Or you might get a little hungry.
It's the little things, huh?
Yeah.
That make the difference.
It's the ABCs.
Yeah.
You know? Voila.
I think we have an interesting
Do we have questions from people?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a question from, I can't tell because I didn't put their name on there. I'm looking on. I'm looking
on Facebook.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna look. So guys, if you have questions, right above this stream, there's a little link, and if you'll click on that link and just give StreamYard permission to use your name, then when we post your questions up here, it will show who's asking the question rather than like this one says Facebook user, but this is Katie Gass. I hope I said that last name right. So this is Katie's question. Do you try to avoid flooding and learned helplessness in your training with an e-collar? Do you agree that working with a professional when using an e-collar is important? So I have a good answer for this, but I'm going to let Joris answer this. This is so.
I think that if I understand the question correctly, I will not skip steps by using the e-collar. I'm going to start everything with food. I'm going to start with everything with food out of my hands. I'm going to start everything with food in the dopamine box. And when the dog is doing all of that perfectly, I'm going to bring the e-collar in the life of the dog by my hands, by the box, and by teaching the dog the mechanical things on the leash or the flat collar or the choker. And then we're going to combine the mechanicals with the electronics. I see very successful trainers that know how to push the buttons, but they have two left hands on a leash. People don't train dogs on a leash no more because pushing the button is going way faster.
Yeah.
But you're skipping things.
Yeah.
You cannot become a Formula One driver if you don't learn how to drive an old car.
Yeah.
So,
Walk before you run. Sure.
Yeah.
As far as learned helplessness too, I think, it's important for people to know that in the system, as far as the e-collar is concerned, same as any tool, but since she mentioned the e-collar, there is no learned helplessness in NePoPo
yeah,
because
no,
a dog,
you're right.
a stem from the e-collar, it when teaching with it, it predicts a reward, and a dog
Yeah.
learns to control the stem
Correct.
rather than, it learns what a correction is before the correction comes. So it's all preparation, and the dog understands, in the progression of the system, the dog understands completely what's going on. So
And of course, the e-collar makes it very impersonal. It is the hand of God, and you have to make the dog to understand that it is God that is controlling you. But the dog also needs to understand that you are the one that he has to obey. Where you work with your leash, you're always going to be too late because the dog knows that it's coming from you.
sure.
But I believe that he needs to know that it can come from you, but that also can come out of heaven,
Yeah, I also think that you need to make it personal somehow, because then the dog learns that he has to obey to you, and not just because the hand of God or his own behavior, because it's also like let's imagine you're on a trial that you don't have tools, you have nothing, and when the dog never experienced that, like a correction or something can also be personal from you, and you're on a trial, the dog's doing bullshit, and you say, hey, very quiet so the judge won't hear it. So the dog is also respecting you, what you're saying, and not just the hand of God.
And that's why the e-collar may not be something that makes the dog color smart, because when he's color smart, he will do whatever you ask. But on the moment that he doesn't feel that color, he's going to say, okay, now I can do whatever that I want.
Yeah.
Where people that go in competition have the risk that the dog is listening to them 355 days a year, but the 10 days that they are trialing, the dog says, how do,
Yeah.
Because in the system, we have the pyramids. And in the pyramids, we have 3 levels. We have the basic level that says, always help. But help, what is the definition of help? Help means as much as needed, as little as possible.
Sure.
For my pet dogs, for my clients, I believe that they can stay their whole life in that basic level of help, because that is going to create the interactivity because my clients and the dog.
Yeah.
If you go to the middle level of the pyramid, you speak about the intermittent phase. 1 time yes, 5 times no, 5 times yes, 3 times no. It becomes very unpredictable, very variable. The dog needs to find his way.
Yeah.
People skip that intermittent phase way too fast. To go to the competition level, where it is, I say you must do, and the you must do means you have to do it because you have nothing on your neck. The one time that you say, the one time that you have the I say you must do, and the dog is not doing, and there is no consequence,
Yeah.
you're done.
Yep. So for me, my dogs, it's typically now dog, because my 2 puppies, they're young, but even like I'm always in the second level of the pyramid. I stay there, and then like the only time I'm in the top, stimulus control is on the field. So as soon as we're off the field, it's right back down. So
Yeah, and it's nothing wrong with that. You have to come down sometimes to not distinguish the behavior. So it's nothing wrong to that.
keep hope alive,
I think that's it. Voilà. So, hey, I think this was a nice conversation. I thank you guys for having me. I
Thanks
think
for
that
coming.
we are touching. I think that we are touching the 1 hour call.
Yeah.
It's Saturday, so tell me, do people have any more questions? Do you guys have any more questions? Where are we?
Guys, any questions? You better speak now. You snooze, you lose.
Yes.
Maybe repeat one more time that Police Canine Conference in Vegas, 7th, 8th, and 9th of March. People that are looking right now or people that are going to look later. I have a 3-day pass. No, I have a free conference pass. So that means that you are free to go to the 3 days of the conference. Let us know in the comments why you deserve to receive that ticket. Maybe let's put 24 hours on it. That within 24 hours, we make a public announcement who is winning that ticket. After that, we see who wrote what, and we can agree to disagree, the three of us, who can have it.
Yeah, perfect.
Joris,
Joris, thank you very much.
Comments too, so people can remember the dates.
Yeah, I will do that later. I will just put that in the comments,
March
and then
7,
after
8,
that.
9. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, guys.
Joris, thanks for coming, and thanks for the great conversation. Have a good day, and
it was my pleasure.
Yeah, enjoy your weekend.
Dominic, I know that you're in Germany, so you're probably drinking already.
No, I gotta work later, so not drinking for me today.
Is that your best excuse?
Yeah, honestly, yes.
Okay.
All right, guys. Appreciate y'all.
See you next time.